अच्छा, जो लोग ऑलरेडी ज्वाइन था, से दे प्लीज start to give the attendance.
Ma'am, attendance link is bugged. It's asking for owner's permission.
Permission? Just a minute. Wait. Let me send you the link again. Now check.
Again, same error.
Same error. Okay.
It's asking for owner's permission.
Okay, let me check again. Let me check again. अभी देखो तो होता है कि नहीं?
No, ma'am.
Again,
Asking
same
for
error.
permission.
अच्छा, तो एक काम करो, मैं एक और फॉर्म भेज रही हूँ। वो केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग का स्टूडेंट के लिए मैं बनाई थी, मगर तुम लोग को वहां पे अपना सीरियल नंबर डालना सही तरह से, ठीक है? ये तो काम करता है।
मैम सेक्शन एल सीरियल नंबर।
हाँ, सेक्शन एल का जैसे तुम्हारा KIL जो ऐसा लिखा है ना, वैसा ही लिखना। अगर यहाँ पे अटेंडेंस लिखा
मैम
रहेगा।
मैम एक ब्रांच वाइज है, अगर मेटलर्जी से है तो जैसे मेरा 97 है तो 97 के लिखता हूँ, या फिर अगर एल के हिसाब से लिखूं तो फिर 7L लिखता हूँ। तो
Ma'am,
कौन
you
सा
can
लिखूं?
always take a screenshot.
No, it is problematic. It's easy for me to collect in the Google form, you know. तो तुम्हारा तो ब्रांच का है ना, ब्रांच का कोड है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
ब्रांच का एक
मैम द
ब्रांच का
केमिकल
है
इंजीनियरिंग फॉर्म यू
सेक्शन
गेव दैट
एक
हैज
सेक्शन
मिनट,
के
रुको मैं बताती हूँ, ठीक है? कंप्यूटर इंफॉर्मेशन और जिन लोगों का जो है ना शॉर्ट फॉर्म, मैं वो बताती हूँ, ठीक है? रुक जाओ 1 मिनट। अच्छा, 1 मिनट। तुम लोग एक काम करो, तुम तो मेटलर्जी का मेटलर्जी हो ना?
हाँ
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, एक combined branch है।
ठीक
हाँ
है, तुम
कंबाइंड
लोग ना
ब्रांच है,
वो
प्योर
सीरियल
मेटलर्जी
नंबर
वाला
के।
के में है, प्योर
हाँ
मेटलर्जी
ठीक
वाला
है,
के
मैं
में है,
बता
तो
रही
हम
हूँ,
लोग
मैं बता रही हूँ, 1 मिनट रुक जाओ। आज थोड़ा लेट हो गया मेरा कनेक्शन की वजह से। मैं नया कनेक्शन की कोशिश कर रही थी। देखो, ये अटेंडेंस शीट काम कर रहा है क्या? 1 मिनट रुक जाओ,
दैट
मैं
वन इज
बताती हूँ।
एक्सपायर्ड नाउ द केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग वन दैट यू
ये
जस्ट
भी एक्सपायर दिखा रहा है?
Now it's not working.
इट हैज टाइम्ड आउट
No longer accepting response.
मैम इन
अच्छा,
द वन यू गिविंग अस फॉर आवर ब्रांच उसमें रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हटा दो ना, दैट एवरीवन
हाँ,
कैन
रिस्ट्रिक्शन
डू इट
हटा दिया।
सेटिंग्स में।
हाँ, रुको रुको, मैं देखती हूँ। ये देखो तो, लास्ट वाला देखो।
चल गया मैम।
This one is working.
Okay, so just a minute. I am telling you the code for the every engineering branch. So just remember that. ठीक है? तो तुम लोगों का information ना information.
Ma'am, how can I give attendance?
Just
Through this link.
the last one link is given. It is working. They are saying just there is a option for serial number I have written. So just write your like 92 और तुम लोग तो कंप्यूटर ब्रांच से हो ना? कंप्यूटर हो ना यहाँ पे?
कंप्यूटर आईटी
तीन branches.
हाँ तो कंप्यूटर है,
मेटलर्जी एंड
और
3 branches are
हाँ
combined together.
जो
IT.
हाँ आईटी कंप्यूटर वाले जो है वो वाले लिखेंगे एफ, ठीक है? अच्छा जो लोग आईटी के हैं वो लोग लिखेंगे आई, और जो लोग मेटलर्जिकल के हैं वो लोग लिखेंगे के, ठीक है? मेटलर्जी वाले लिखेंगे के, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी वाले लिखेंगे आई, और कंप्यूटर वाले लिखेंगे एफ, ठीक है ना?
But L group.
क्या है बट
K.
बोलो?
K group already. MME को K लिखना है.
हाँ के लिखा है मेटलर्जी में,
मेटलर्जी वाले के सेक्शन के है ना, वो प्योर मेटलर्जी वाले, इसलिए कि हम लोग को लिखना है 90 के ऊपर जो भी रोल नंबर।
ओके ठीक।
मेटलर्जी वाले लिखेंगे 90 के था 100 के व्हाटएवर, ठीक है?
ओके।
और कंप्यूटर वाले लिखेंगे एफ, और वो वाले लिखेंगे आईटी वाले लिखेंगे आई, ठीक है? तो तुम लोग इसमें करो, मैं देखती हूँ ये एक्सेप्ट क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, ये मैं बाद में देखूंगी। चलो हाँ ठीक है ठीक है। कोई 37 डाला है जिसका कुछ नहीं है? तो 37 तो होना ही नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि मेरा हर एक नंबर है 90 से।
हेलो मैम, 37 एफ
वाला मत डालो भाई, के वो
मतलब एल सीरीज एल वाले ग्रुप में मेरा नंबर 37 है मैम, कंप्यूटर साइंस।
अच्छा तो मेरे पास
90 के ऊपर वाला यूज करो भाई।
हाँ मेरा तो 90 के ऊपर वाला है।
मैम मैं शुरू से 37 ही दे रहा हूँ मैम।
हाँ वही तो मैंने देखा है। तुम्हारा नाम क्या है?
सुजल जैन मैम।
योर ब्रांच रोल नंबर।
तुम कौन सा
यूज योर
सेक्शन
ब्रांच रोल नंबर।
ओके सो इन माय टेबल यू नो इट इज लाइक 103 serial number from wherever I got.
ओके ओके मैम।
सो मैं एक काम करती हूँ ना, मेरे पास जो एक्सेल शीट है मैं वो तुम लोगों को व्हाट्सएप में भेज दूंगी, ठीक है?
यस मैम।
तो इससे अच्छा ये होगा कि तुम लोग तब देख पाओगे ना।
Ma'am, whenever I give attendance, then after that it give attendance of chemical engineering.
क्या बोल रहे हो? रुको मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, रुको मैं पहले ये काम कर
मैम
देती
फॉर्म
हूँ।
सबमिट करने के बाद लिखता है कि योर अटेंडेंस ऑफ केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग।
नो प्रॉब्लम नो प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि मैंने तुम्हें वो फॉर्म भेजा है ना, मैं वो तुम लोगों का इसी क्लास में दे दूंगी, ठीक है? वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। अच्छा मैंने वो कंबाइंड हेल्थ सेक्शन का एक्सेल शीट मेरे पास जो था मैंने डाल दिया, तो तुम लोग देख लेना किसका कौन सा क्या नंबर है, ठीक है? ये की 37 आया है भाई, बाकी सब तो नंबर ठीक ही है मेरा। 37 जिसका है वो फिर से डाल देना मेरे नंबर के हिसाब से, ठीक है? एक बार देख लो तुम्हारा नंबर कितना
ओके मैम,
है।
ठीक है मैम, देखे मैम 103
और एक बार डाल दो। अच्छा चलो, तो we already have 67 and I think I only got 46 number of responses. So complete your attendance and we will start. Attendance के क्लास चालू करती हूँ, ठीक है?
मैम इसमें जो
लोगों को सब
नंबर
इसी क्लास
रजिस्टर्ड
का
है,
ही अटेंडेंस मिलेगा। थोड़ा ऊंचा बोलो।
मैम इसमें जो मेरा मोबाइल नंबर रजिस्टर्ड है, ये वाला मोबाइल नंबर दूसरा, और ये चेंज हो सकता है ये?
वो तो है, तुम्हारा क्लास का सीआर है ना?
हाँ।
तुम्हारा क्लास का जो सीआर है उनको बोलो, वो उसको शायद उस ग्रुप का एडमिन है, ठीक है? वो एल सेक्शन कंबाइंड का तुम्हारे क्लास से कोई ना कोई तो सीआर होगा ना?
ओके।
तो तुम लोगों का कोई सीआर नहीं है?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am, we
मैम
have
ये
PR.
जो
शिवम
स्प्लिट
एंड
आपने
संस्कृति।
उसमें जो मोबाइल नंबर है वो बस दूसरा, बाकी जो ग्रुप में हूँ वो उसमें तो दूसरा मोबाइल नंबर से है।
देखो तुम्हारा सीआर को बोलो, या तुम एक काम करो, मुझे एक एसएमएस करो, मैं देखती हूँ, ठीक है?
ओके।
जो सेक्शन का मैं एडमिन हूँ या नहीं हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने ये बनाया नहीं है, किसी और सर ने बनाया होगा। तुम मुझे भेजना और तुम्हारा नाम वगैरह इन डिटेल्स भेजना, मैं देखूंगी, अगर मैं एडमिन हूँ, मैं कर सकती हूँ तो मैं कर दूंगी, ठीक है?
ओके।
Probably I am not admin. Anyway, just send me or otherwise write in the group. Maybe other sirs will do it. Any sir? Okay, I will ask any of them. Okay, so let's start. In the last class, we were talking about water technology, and we were talking about the cleaning of the water, what we are using every day, right? Filtration and sedimentation, coagulation, etc. So if you have any queries from that, just send me a text regarding your questions. And today we will talk about the removal of microorganisms in water. So एक मिनट रुको। अच्छा, मैं ये फुल स्क्रीन करती हूँ। अगर फुल स्क्रीन आया तो मुझे बताना। हाँ, फुल स्क्रीन आया?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So today we will talk about removal of microorganisms from water. Now, from where microorganisms comes? Normally क्या होता है, पानी तो नल से आता है और there are pipelines below. So sometimes because of the pipeline leakage and the accumulation of the fungi or algae over the pipeline, over the metal pipelines, there are growth of the pathogens. Besides that, we are polluting our water with several other organic things and throwing different type of wastes in water. So from there also microorganism grows, and even from hospitals, pharmaceutical industries. So different type of organisms are coming and contaminating the water. So what is done? So that organism must be eliminated from the drinking water, otherwise it will infect us. So there are several processes, and there are several types of microorganisms also inside the water, like enteric bacteria. You all know about, like cholera. These bacteria are available in drinking water if we drink directly water from the river. So that water need to be processed, like salmonella typhi, vibrio cholerae, just what I told earlier. Intestinal different type of protozoa, like I was talking about, like amoebiasis. Last class I was talking about amoebiasis disease of Kolkata, right?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so it's very very common, in Kolkata. Amoebiasis, almost every person were infected, almost every person. Even after a disinfection, we used to get sick with this problem. But that type of organism is not available in Raipur water. So the fact is that, so like intestinal protozoa like amoebiasis, entamoeba histolytica, all these things are available in depending on the region, and different type of viruses like hepatitis and coliform bacteria like E. coli and B. coli. एक मिनट रुको, कोई यहाँ पे है? शुभ्रांशु, तुम क्या चेंज करना चाहते हो मोबाइल?
हाँ, वो आपने बोला ना तो सब
ठीक है, तो क्लास के बाद लिख लेंगे। हाँ, ठीक है। तो डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ लाइक B. coli, E. coli, Hafnia, this type of coliform bacteria or microorganisms are also present in the water. So we need to remove that. So a very common process for sterilization of water in the domestic process is like in our home. If we need sterilization of water, we need to first boil the water, and the water should be boiling at least in boiling condition. It should be at least for 20 minutes. then the removal of water is then the water is sterilized. But when if I am doing that for 2 or 3 people, that also cost energy and money, but that is fine, we can afford. But when we are thinking about like some lakhs and crores of people in a city, then this is not possible, right? So it is not possible for a corporation or for a panchayat to boil the water for 20 minutes for this amount of people. It's something, it's not possible, it's rubbish to even think about that. So there are processes by which the municipal corporation kills the bacteria before they sending to us. Although the percentage of like disinfection is not complete, but some sort of certainly it's in the permissible amount what they are sending to us, the quality of water. So the very common process for in the towns and the cities for sterilization of water is chlorination. So it is written here, right? The complete removal of microorganism in municipal water tanks is carried out by disinfection of water by chlorination process. And the chlorination process is like, little cheaper. And it doesn't, if we use like a certain amount of chlorine, then there is a certain, last class we have shown you that every constituent or every contaminants present in the water, they have some permissible limit above which that is affecting us, but below that is it's okay with our health. So chlorine also, if added in a measured quantity and then it will not affect our body. So very common process of disinfection is using by chlorine. Now, what is the ideal characteristics of disinfection now, or the sterilization? So the first, it should kill all the microorganisms present in the water at room temperature. And what I told earlier, like it should be inexpensive, it should be cost effective. Like I told that when you are changing, we are adding like bleaching powder in water, it is providing chlorine as well as calcium. Now we must consider that if that the limit of calcium and the chlorine should not cross the limit what is said by WHO, that above that. Okay, if it is beyond that, then it will affect our body. So that should be, that need to be taken care of by the municipal corporations. And we also think about that after like disinfection, there should not be leakage in the pipes or when we are delivering the water. Just a minute, somebody I think again wants to enter the class.
No, ma'am, I just raised hand.
Okay, tell me.
Ma'am,
I think, yeah, tell me.
when you talk about who, you are referring to World Health Organization, right?
Yes. So in the last class, actually, I have shown you a chart, where they have set several parameters depending on the region. Okay, so that standard of water is maintained all over world. Sometimes it is in some places maybe the percentage of iron is more, maybe the percentage of iron is less. But that is even where the percentage of iron in water is more, that is under the limit set by WHO. Okay. So actually, if maybe at the end of the class we can discuss. Otherwise, I have to, this presentation mode will be going. Okay, if I have to check. Okay. So after the class, I will finish. You just ask me any question. Okay. The session will be open for discussion, and we can ask and we can discuss. Okay. So now let's move for the processes we are using for disinfection of water. Like the first one, what I was discussing earlier, like bleaching powder. Another process is like chlorination. Chlorination is a process of adding concentrated chlorine. Another process of another is like chloramine addition, and by ozonolysis or ozonification, not ozonolysis, ozonification, ultraviolet ray, and also by adding potassium permanganate. So first we will talk about the disinfection of water by bleaching powder method. So bleaching, so what happened now, we need to, so just earlier I told like that whatever the process you are adapting for disinfecting the water, the amount of the reagent what you are adding, that should be of permissible, amount, and that should be measured, and it should not, and it should be reacting with water for like a certain time. Like if I am adding water just for like if I'm adding bleaching powder for 5 minutes, that is not the standing time for disinfect. At least we should keep it with the disinfection for at least like 30 minutes. It should be there for at least 30 minutes. After that, we can consume that. And it also depends on the volume. Okay, volume, the quantity, the contact time, everything is important. Now let us consider about the bleaching powder. Now the formula of bleaching powder is calcium hypochlorite, CaOCl2. So what happened on reacting with water, it releases chlorine, and this calcium is precipitated as calcium hydroxide. Now the chlorine liberated in this reaction reacts with water again and forms HCl and hypochlorous acid. Now hypochlorous acid is very much reactive. So in water, it produces OCl minus ion and H plus. Now this OCl minus ion get depleted and forms chlorine, forms Cl minus and a nascent oxygen. Now this nascent oxygen or oxygen radical, what is present in the water, they have a very short lifetime. So whatever the organisms or if there is any organic product present in the water, it will oxidize it very fast. So this nascent oxygen reacts with the microorganism or the superbugs and disrupts its cell culture, cell membrane. Thus in this process, the cell lysis occurs. Now what is the disadvantages of using bleaching powder? I think we all know sometimes when we are having water with more, I don't remember nowadays because we all are using RO. I think when I was young, like in my school days, sometimes in my school I used to feel that water contains a very bad odor. It maybe I'm talking about 97, 98, long time ago. Then I sometimes feel that there is a smell of chlorine in the water, the bad smell. And so that's why initially I told, like whenever we are adding some disinfectant in water, that need to be calculated and measured amount. If that is more, then that will change the the smell and the taste of water. And another thing is that the calcium will also, although it's calcium hydroxide, but maybe the calcium hydroxide will get precipitated at last, but maybe in presence of the chlorine or some acid, it might provide a calcium chloride, might generate a calcium chloride, which also increase the hardness of water. So so another thing is that I think we all know that bleaching powder, if we keep for a long time, it deteriorates. So that is also not cost effective. So nowadays, this in disinfection of these utilizing the bleaching powder is not done. So rather, this process is adapted. So direct chlorination process. So what happened in that case? So the chlorination is done by concentrated chlorine solution, and it is added in the in the tank, and this baffles present in this picture is just to slow down the water force. And then this chlorine added inside water, and this chlorine reacts with water and again form this hypochlorous acid, and from there there is a generation of nascent oxygen to kill or to disrupt all the microorganisms present in the water. So this is the picture of a chlorinator. Now we are moving to the mechanism of chlorination. It is also the same like the calcium, like the bleaching powder. What the thing is that, like when we are generating the nascent oxygen, then it is rupturing the cell membrane of the microorganisms. And here they have proposed another thing. They said, like if there is a gram-negative pathogen. So the gram-negative pathogen normally interacts with the the positive charge things or the acids. So in the water there is a hypochlorous acid, HOCl. That HOCl can penetrate through the cell membrane of the gram-negative bacteria, or in the case of gram-positive, they can interact with this OCl minus, and that can go inside the microorganisms and can disrupt their internal enzymatic function, and thus the system will stop working, and this is the way of the cell lyse or the death of the apoptosis of the the bacterial cells. And another thing, I also believe that if we are adding chlorine or bleaching powder, whatever in the solution, the pH of the water is changing from I think it is dropping. The pH is dropping, so the pH is also very much important for the growth of the bacteria. So that is another mechanism we can say that maybe the change of the pH also kills the pathogens, and also their reactivity is also changing. Now, the factors that is affecting the efficiency of chlorination, that is the temperature. With the because the bacteria are very suitable to grow at the temperature of 37 degree to 44 degree. Now, with that higher temperature, like for that reason, I was talking that in the domestic disinfection, we need to boil a water. When the water boils, its temperature is 100 degree. So at 100 degree, there is no bacteria are existing, because all the cell lysis will occur. So if we are boiling for 20 minutes, then certainly there is nothing. So increase in the temperature will also will lead to the accelerated the death of the bacteria, and the time of contact, like I told earlier, that minimum 30 minutes is needed for the reactivity of chlorine. Or if we keep it for a less time, then it will not, the reaction will not be completed. And the pH of the water is also important. The lower pH value between 5 to 6.5 is suitable for maximum efficiency for chlorination. And now the thing is that there are other also processes for disinfection. But when we are thinking about a huge mass, we first need to think about that how it is economic. Because we are not paying the tax, so certainly regarding the water tax, so certainly the corporation thinks that we need to make it economic for everybody, right? So for that reason, the economic things and the cheap how much we can reach at the lowest cost by disinfection. The disinfection process should be really cheap, otherwise it's not affordable for a country like us. So that's why these processes are well adopted. But there are other processes also, like ozonification and UV treatment. So that we will talk later about that. And but we need to think about that if there are more excess chlorine, if it is present in the water, then that will change the odor of the water, as well as the pH, and also the taste of the water will be changing. So there are processes by which the excess chlorine is removed. So that we will talk about later. Now let's discuss about the breakpoint. What is breakpoint chlorination? Now first we will, yes.
Time of contact, once tell, madam.
Yes. What? I didn't tell me again.
There is a point in you tell time of contact, madam. For less time, it is more effective.
Which one? Just tell me which point where.
It's affecting efficiency of chlorine. Second point, time of contact.
Efficiency of chlorine, time of contact. A small time required for maximum chlorine efficiency. Then efficiency. No, this is different. This is I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you in the next breakpoint chlorination. This is something else. Small time contact means not like that. Let us consider like the efficiency of chlorination and efficiency with bleaching powder. Okay, so maybe for the bleaching powder, the microorganism to kill the microorganism, the time may be needed like 1 hour. But with respect to the chlorination, when we are adding a liquid chlorine, that requires a smaller time with respect to bleaching powder. Okay, it is a the comparative study with respect to bleaching powder. Am I clear?
Okay,
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, the chlorine mentioned here is pure chlorine.
Yes, it's a chlorine solvated in water. It's a concentrated
Okay.
solution of chlorine. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Either you pass the concentrated solution of chlorine, or maybe you can pass it as a gas. But I think it's better to pass the concentrated solution rather. I think that that is easier to do rather than passing a gas, because passing a gas will need a lot of. It will need better instrumentation. Rather, maybe we will prepare a chlorine gas in different chamber or different unit, and that will be dissolved, and that can be added to this amount of water. Otherwise, there must be a chlorine generation plant near the water. Water purification center, and I think that is not normally done. The chlorine, there must be the factories who they are producing chlorine water, and that might be maybe closer to the disinfection unit, but may not be same. May not be. The disinfection unit is not itself producing the chlorine. They are certainly buying it from somewhere else. And that should be in the form of water, because that is easy to carry rather than the gas. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. So what is the breakpoint chlorination? But before that, we will, I told you, like, if there is more chlorine added to the water for destroying the microorganisms, and then these this excess chlorine is removed by either ammonia or sulfur dioxide, because these things in the presence of water, in presence of chlorine, will form different type of complexes. Maybe that is we will talk about that later in the different slide. Now, what is breakpoint chlorination? So see, there is a graph. Okay, so what now this graph is plotted against chlorine residual and chlorine added. So let us consider a container where we have some amount of water. Okay, so and we are dividing the chlorine which we will add in 5 to 6 different portions. So when the first portion of the chlorine will be added to that container, initially we will see that there is no residual chlorine. So what is a residual chlorine? Residual chlorine is just considered that we are adding the amount of A chlorine in the system, and after the reaction, how much chlorine is left. Okay, so that chlorine is considered as the residual chlorine. So before addition, we know the quantity, and after addition, we will check that how much is left over. So first, when we add, we will see that there is no residual chlorine in the system. So that is the stage 1 in the container. Stage 1 is going on in the container. It means that every container processes certain in every portion of water, there is certainly some present reducing agent are present. That reducing agent are interacting with the chlorine, and that chlorine is, so the chlorine we added, it already reacted with that. Next, what will happen? Next, when we are adding the second portion of chlorine into it, then we will see the rise in the residual chlorine. And what happened in that case, that these chlorines are interacting with the organic compounds or the bacteria to form like chloroamines or chloroorganic compounds. But in that zone, the chlorine is not oxidizing, rather it is reacting with that analytes or the substances which is present in the water. Now what will happen after few minutes, we will add chlorine, and at that time we will see that there is a decrease in there is a depletion in the curve, and the point where the low point is termed as a break point. Now why it is called break point? Now, after addition of more chlorine, we will see that there is a decrease in the curve. It indicates that the compound present in the chlorine, they already reacted. Now there is no residual chlorine. So the compound which are forming the chloroamines and other things, they already oxidized with that chlorine, and now there is no residue. Now the residual chlorine is less. Okay, Now again at the stage 4, when you will add more chlorine, so there will be no other organisms or no other compounds to react with the residual chlorine. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so there will be no microorganisms or no other organic analytes present in the system to react with that chlorine to react further. Okay, so on addition of more chlorine, the residual chlorine will be increased. Now let us consider that you had a B amount of chlorine organisms in the system. So that B amount of chlorine already reacted with the chlorine you added. So there is no left organisms to react with chlorine. Now if you add again A plus 1, that plus 1 chlorine will be present in the system, right? I am making it more complex for you, or is this okay?
Madam, once explain that stage 3, madam, destruction of chloramines.
Yeah, stage 3 you are having problem, okay? So the fact is that, let me explain that on first initially in the stage 2, they will react the organic matter or the microorganisms which are present in the system will react with the chlorines, okay? But at that point, that material will not be oxidized, okay? So the chlorine is present like as a Cl2 in the system, but when after certain concentration, it needs to be present in a certain concentration. After that concentration, chlorine will start as an oxidizing agent. Before that, it will just stay in the system, but it will be not an oxidizing agent. Am I clear right now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, so there is a certain concentration must be reached for showing the oxidation process. Okay, so when that concentration is reached, then the chlorine will react as a oxidizing agent, and it will oxidize all the pathogenic bacteria and the microorganisms present in the system. Okay, then the concentration of the residual chlorine will decrease. So you see at the stage 2, their certain concentration is reached. After that, the oxidation process start. And when the oxidation process start, the residual chlorine amount decreases because that chlorine is interacting. And after the cleaning of or the complete disinfection, this will be at the minima. Then if you add more chlorine, there will be nothing left in the water to react with the chlorine. And that's why the free and the combined chlorine will show again a higher steep. Now it is okay for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this is actually written here. If you read this stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3, stage 4, you will understand it, okay? Now there is what I told just earlier, like if we are adding more chlorine in the system, then we need, then we need the dechlorination. So the dechlorination here, it is shown like with the sulfur dioxide. So sulfur dioxide will react with the chlorine, will form sulfuric acid and HCl. But remember that if that quantity is small, then the pH will be changed, and we must not go under pH 5.5. So whatever the chlorination, dechlorination process is going on in the water, that must be through a calculated process, okay? And in the last class, we were talking about that the activated charcoal and the carbon filter, they also can react with chlorine and can absorb chlorine, and that is another process of also the dechlorination. Now, another thing I want to mention, that if there is excess chlorine in the water, that can be estimated by addition of potassium iodide. Now, potassium iodide will react with chlorine and will liberate iodine. Now, that iodine can be titrated with sodium thiosulfate, and by that process, with the liberated iodine, we can calculate that how much chlorine was present in the system. Now, there are other processes like addition of chloroamine and also the addition of the addition of the ozone in the water, or passing. There is also by ozone also disinfection is done, but that is costly. And chloroamine can be done, but Chloroamine, the disinfection by chloroamine is done also by nowadays. It is not also costly. Some of the, the disinfectioner institute. The systems, they are actually adapting this method of using the disinfection, doing the disinfection of water with this chloramine process. And in the case of the ozone, what is done, the ozone is passed through the water, and the concept of any type of disinfection is to generate a radical that which can oxidize the organic material, right? So even in the case of the ozone also, there is a generation of nascent oxygen, and that will also kill or oxidize all the material, organic material, and the microorganisms in the system. But it is costly, and you not only by just passing ozone you cannot do it. You need to give a electric discharge just for the depletion of the ozone to O2 and this nascent oxygen. So this is costly, and this cannot be done for a huge mass. And now another process is like purification of water by ultraviolet rays, and for that reason a light of like 190 to 380 nanometer light with a mercury lamp is used. And in that case, there is a thin film which where it is written like a quartz sleeve around which the water flows, and there is a lamp is lighted there. And that thin film thin in that when the light passes to the thin layer of water, and then that part of water is disinfected, and the water is passing through that very thin layer, and the light is falling on it. So this is the way how the in the swimming pool the water is disinfected. But in the case of the swimming pool, the quantity of water is less, and the person who is accessing the swimming pool, they can afford that charges. So that can be done with that amount of water and with that cost, but not for general, not for like a huge quantity of water which we are consuming every day or what we are using. And ultraviolet treatment of water is also done in the different food industries for disinfection of water. And so this is also a good method, but only the problem is like it's costly. And another thing is like that so it's normally it is not adopted. And there are also other methods like using potassium permanganate for disinfection of water. But it is normally the chlorination, as it is cheap, and as it is readily available source. So that two are normally adopted. Now, do you have another class after this?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Can I take 10 minutes more? Is it okay for all of you?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you have already completed
Ma'am.
giving the... Yes, ask me.
Ma'am, is it important to understand all these concepts, or if I remember all these things, it will be okay?
I'm not sure about that. So I'll just first let me ask you one thing, that Pentas had already started taking classes regarding the lime soda process and everything.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So you have only 2 applied chemistry class, right? From me only, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You and Nariman, ma'am.
You and Nariman Khan, ma'am.
So Nariman madam started with the fuels and everything, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, so we have a MCQ test in January mid. So probably we will be completing these things, but you need to remember little bit things, but it's not very tough. Just read and I think you will remember. It's not very tough. Okay, so yes, there is a raising of hand. Ask me whatever you want to ask.
Madam, in dechlorination, you told by adding small amounts of sulfur dioxide, we can do dechlorination.
Sorry?
In dechlorination process, you told by adding small amounts of sulfur dioxide.
Yes.
But it may still impurify water, no, madam, by because it releases sulfuric acid, H2SO4.
Exactly. That is the thing, you know, if by the end of the thing, we are generating sulfuric acid. There is also another process where sodium sulfite is added into the water for dechlorination, and that will generate sodium sulfate. But at least that is better method. But the fact is that if you are generating these things, and if the quantity is fine and the pH what we need to achieve, like from 5 to 5, from 5.5 to 7.5, if the extent of sulfuric acid is generating what is generating, and that can be in the permissible range, then it is well accepted. But if the generation of sulfuric acid is more, then that process is not accepted, you know. That's why from the first time when we started talking about the dechlorination, from the first time I was talking that you need to add, you know, you need to give the accurate dose, right? Like, just consider that I have a fever, okay? Like I have a fever, and I have taken a crocin, okay? But I take the but normally adult should take the crocin dose of, normally we are taking the 650 milligram, right? Now in the case of the kids or a baby, the dose is like 125 milligram. Now if I take 125 dose milligram, that will not react for my body, right? So it will take a longer time. So accurate dose is important everywhere, even in the human body, even in the disinfection. And in the case of the breakpoint chlorination, you also saw like that there is the chlorination process must reach a certain concentration of chlorine, and after that the oxidation starts, right? So accurate dose is important everywhere, even if it is in the medical science, even if it is a disinfection of water. Am I clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, so the thing is that you cannot add like we have excess amount of chlorine, that's why we are adding a lot of sulfur dioxide. That is not the process. The small amount of chlorine which is generated after even the accurate addition and the good distribution of the chlorine, and after complete calculation, that minimum amount can be the minimum amount should be dechlorinated with the sulfuric acid. It's not like a huge amount, okay? The huge amount will lead to the depletion of the decrease in the pH of the system. Okay, any other question? Any other question?
No.
Okay.
Ma'am.
When
Yes.
will you share these notes?
Today I will share. Okay, so now in the next class I will just start the next class for 5 minutes up, because we started little late today, after like it was already 10 minutes late because of this issue and everything. So tomorrow in the next class, so that we can at least I can at least complete the section. So 1 minute, let me share you the slide now. Yes. Can you see my screen, or it is still black?
Still black one.
Ma'am, I can see it.
I can see it, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am,
I
we
can see it.
Everyone can see it.
Visible, ma'am.
Okay. So it started. Okay. So in the next class, we will learn how to calculate the hardness of water and everything. So basically, what is hardness? Hardness of water is that I think you all know, right? Did you ever felt that what is hardness of water?
Presence
Anybody?
of calcium and magnesium ions in the water, which restrict the creation of
Absolutely,
foam and froth.
Yes. But sometimes we understand now, if we went somewhere, we see that, oh, the soap is not working very well.
Yes,
It will happen, you know.
That's the hardness
Yes,
of
and
water. That happens.
yes. So that is the, you know, the hardness of water. And normally the soap is like a long chain fatty acid, like what is a long aliphatic chain of carbon, which contains the sodium salt. Okay, now that is normally a soap, like palmitic acid. And so sodium salt of palmitic acid is a soap. So now what happens now, like here we are talking about stearic acid. Now what happens now, and it is, yes, this is a sodium sort of stearic acid. Now if the calcium and magnesium, all these things are present in the water, they will interact with this oxalic acid group much much stronger than the sodium. And that another thing I want to mention, that mostly the salts which contain sodium in the water, they will dissociate and dissociate very easily. So calcium will now take the place of the sodium, and it will form like a calcium stearate. And in that case, what will happen, the soap what we already have in the system will be precipitated in the system, and we will lose soap. So basically that is not economic. So in the process of the form, when we are trying to solubilize the soap in the water, so in the case of the hard water, the amount of soap is needed will be more with respect to the soft water. So basically the hardness of the water can be termed as a soap consuming capacity. Now same is the thing for magnesium. Magnesium can also form magnesium stearate and can be precipitated and can form a insoluble salt like this and can precipitate it in the system. So thus there will be a loss of soap. And this is the comparison of a hard water and a soft water. So it is saying that in the hard water, the soap will not what is water which does not produce lather with soap solution readily but forms a white card is called hard water. I think we all know this. And I am telling you another thing, that I have a friend. So I used to go to his house when I was in school. So his mommy always asked me that, can you bring a bottle of water from your home? Because the water what we are drinking in my home was a soft water. And in a different corporation in Kolkata, in a different corporation, we and my friend were living. So even when you are cooking any dal, the dal will be cooked faster in the soft water with respect to hard water. I don't know why, I don't know these things, but she used to ask me that, please bring a bottle of water from your house. So I used to give that auntie. So I still remember and these things. And just see now in the hard water what is said, that due to a presence of the dissolved hardness producing salts in the water, the boiling point of water is elevated. Consequently, it required more time for cooking. Okay, so maybe for that reason, my friend's mother used to ask me a bottle of water from my home whenever I used to visit her. So that is inside Kolkata, but a different region. So anyway, so this is the thing. This is the differences between a hard water and soft water. And another thing is that in the case of the hard water, the cleansing quality of the soap is depressed and it is wasted. In the case of the soft water, that is not. So it is not wasted. And the hard water contains several magnesium and calcium ions in it. Whether the soft water contains calcium and magnesium ions, certainly, but in the limited ratio. Okay, and in the permissible, limit. So this is I have just started this part, and in the next class we will talk about more. We will calculate about the hardness and everything. So there is two type of hardness. Another one is temporary hardness, and another is permanent hardness. So in the next class we will talk about. I just have initiated these slides, and I will send you the slide of the microorganism today in the Google class. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Bye now. Already you have given all the attendance, right?
Yes, ma'am.
No, there was
Yes,
also,
ma'am.
no, I haven't got all the attendances. I have only got
Ma'am, I haven't done. I'll do it right now.
Yeah, do it, because there were almost 66 or 67 people in the class. Please complete it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Someone again raised hand. Sasapu Appala Naidu. 94, I, Information Technology. Again, raised hand. You have something to, oh, okay, no question. Okay, anyway, okay, we will meet you at the next class next Wednesday. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. And if you have any queries,
Thank you, ma'am.
yeah, if you have any queries, but just let me know.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and if today you didn't have any problem with my internet connection, right?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, and the voice was clear, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes,
ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ठीक है, चलो, bye, हाँ.
Okay. Bye, ma'am.